Yo,
I do. Yeah.
welcome to the Black Table Part 2.
Because I had to pull up.
Yeah, because I needed the bestie to pull up so we could unpack all the bullshit that is Jada and motherfucking August. Now I wanna start this conversation with the very beginning. Because when August Alsina first went on this little interview with messy ass Angela Yee, I said from jump, this is some messy bullshit.
And I
don't fuck with none of this. And
like,
somebody, Becky with the good hair said,
I don't think it's messy, but I did not have all of the facts. I was saying, because I know you're not like a super huge fan of the interviewer. So I was like, I don't think she's being messy. I think she's gonna ask these questions. What I did not understand was the length of time that had passed. And then coincidentally, I got an album coming out. And now I want to talk about all of this. And that's really, in my opinion, if he wants to get into the shit, because I might get into the shit for him on Twitter, because I think he's responding to people tonight, because I got time.
He ain't responded to me yet, because we already know I sit already.
I got time, because I'm going to be like, is this something that you want to talk about all of a sudden because you have an album coming out?
Oh, everybody done already smoked him on that shit. Like, come on, bro.
But and you done, get out of here. And you done accuse these people of stopping your money. It's like, boy, bye. Like,
because they money ain't stopped. The Smiths don't lose a dollar, a coin, the pound, or the pence.
Like I told you, when Jada came up with this was happening 4 years ago, I figured she was at least in talks to play in Girls Trip. So she was making movies. You know, Will is never not making money.
Will is never not. Shit, Willow and Jaden is working. The Smiths are employed.
And my whole thing is this. So this is the old adage. It's probably not an old adage. It's probably a new one. You are the company you keep. So if you was broke around a bunch of rich people, then you're a fool.
Now that's what's time for the culture.
I don't
now
understand.
You around a nigga like me, I only make $42,000 a year. So you're gonna live on a different type of time around a nigga like me. But if you're around the Smiths, baby, that get money energy gotta rub off on you.
It got to. And he's so let's get into the shit. So all of that aside, we already know his motives are kind of like askew, right?
Yeah.
All of that aside, the game is to be sold, my nigga, not told. Why are you dry snitching? Is it because you have a dry
snitching? Nah, this ain't a dry snitch. You know who's a dry snitch? Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan's a dry snitcher. We all watched that shit. He told on everybody.
Oh yeah.
In that damn documentary. Michael Jordan's a dry snitch. This shit that August did, this shit that Aug did. This shit was out and out, like he just threw up all the information, just Even just the way he responded to Kiki is proof positive that he just be saying all type of shit ass motherfucker.
It's like what? Yeah, like that whole Kiki thing. Let's
make no sense.
Like, why did you go so hard at her? She said nothing crazy.
Because he's mad at Jada. He's mad.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was like. So you're hurt because
hurt people.
You're hurt because you can't come at Jada like that. So you think you're gonna come at Kiki?
Yo, and Will in the gym, baby. Will in the gym. You can't really talk to his wife.
First of all, irrespective of Will being in the gym, Will is still tight.
Oh, Will is big mad. He's mad. He's embarrassed. He's annoyed. And that's not because she actually did some shit. Because I don't feel like this is the first time either one of them stepped out in their marriage. But we all know Black people don't like to be embarrassed. Don't embarrass me in these motherfucking streets. If you step out, that shit better be contained.
And he's probably also mad because they dealt with it already. Like he said,
it's a rehash.
Now I gotta bring this shit up now.
Yeah, and it's a rehash.
And he's definitely still gonna get her back, even though they're probably even. The embarrassment. He's like, none of my bitches is coming out talking about this shit.
Yeah, he probably got them. He probably gave them money though. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm interested to find out, but
I just investigated.
He's accepting applications. I know my role. You know what I'm saying. Exactly. I'm not looking for marital promotions.
So I have a question for you, Sandy. So I've gotten a lot, like I've been making comments online. You've been making comments online. I've had people slide up in my DMs and been like, "Oh, word, this is what you really feel." I'm like, yeah,
nobody
absolutely.
said that shit to me. Everybody know I'm a mess online. Everybody told me to log off.
I also told you to log off. So okay.
I said everybody.
So, well, in my DMs, people are like, "I can't, like, you really feel this way?" And I'm like, yes, I absolutely feel this way. In terms of like, first of all, it's a couple of things, right? It's funny. Jada wordsmithed the shit out of that, and Will was like, no.
Yo, he was on that ass like Diane Sawyer.
Yeah, he was like, no, call it what it was. It was a relationship. Just keep it out. Just put it out there. So she's like entanglement. So we know entanglement now is a whole thing. It's a whole kind of.
Listen,
it's a
that's
hashtag.
my relationship status.
Entangled.
Yes, respect my privacy.
So my whole thing is this: do you think that it's wrong do you think Jada was wrong in what she did?
I think she was wrong for who she did it with. I think she's wrong for who she did it with. I don't think she's wrong for living her life when they were separated because according to Will, he didn't think they would get back together. They were on the road to divorce. So I don't think she's wrong for continuing to live her life. I do think she's wrong for basically fucking in-house dick. I feel like that was mad messy. Because it's clear that they all have a relationship because even Will refers to him with affection. He also calls him Og. He doesn't have anything bad or any ill will to say towards that man, which is really not the common approach for a man whose wife fucked the next dude. Like that's not your everyday response to it. So the fact that he still like has even a small bit of affinity for that man just tells you how much of a relationship they all had as a collective. So the fuck in-house dick was mad messy. She was whack for that. August was whack for that. They was both fucking corny for that. That being said, now how she fucked somebody else, you know what I'm saying? Like not in the house. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Going to get grits in Harlem, baby. Don't worry about that, people. Don't worry about that. It's not your concern.
Don't worry about it, sweetheart. Don't worry about it. Just that flat.
Exactly. So I don't think she was wrong at all. I knew Jada was gonna come to the red table and be like, we was in pain. I knew she was gonna come on
and come with that bullshit. That's why I was glad that Will held her ass to the fire because she really tried to fucking Sammy Davis Jr. around the fucking issue. You know, he was going through something and, you know, I was really hurting and I just wanted to feel good. Sis, I'm not saying that that's not true. I'm not saying you wasn't hurting. Your husband left. He said, and I called, I kicked your ass out. I didn't even think I was going to talk to you again.
That's true.
Listen, I might have been hurt too. We'll find as fuck. You know what I'm saying? After 25 years, you want me to go back into the dating pool? I too would have been hurt. I understand that. I too would have wanted
25 minutes. Don't commit to me.
Listen, you already know. Listen, you know I'm unstable. So don't leave me out in these streets for more than 30 seconds. I'm liable to react. So listen. So I get it, and I'm not saying that those are not factual statements. Still, sis shouldn't have fucked in-house. In-house was not the move.
And I think that we're owed some additional. So I think the 12 minutes and 52 seconds was bullshit. I think a full Red Table Talk episode is at least 22 minutes. So they owe us 10 minutes of explanations, and I want an open Q&A because guess what?
I was glad we got through that 12 minutes because Will looked like he's about to jump his ass over that table.
He really was.
Will looked like say something. Will looked like, you know what? Say something else.
Because she looked refreshed. That bitch
skin was looked like she just got the Alcina dick yesterday.
Her skin didn't look dewy. She was like,
she was like a vibrant thing.
Exactly. She was like, you know, because I'm really happy we went through this. And Will was sitting up there like,
At one point, well, actually at the whole point, his eyes were red. His face looked stressed. He looked upset. He looked uncomfortable. He looked embarrassed. He just looked like, listen, I'm doing, and he said out his own mouth, he said, I feel like one of those women that be standing by their man after he cheat and he got to confess. I mean,
yeah, pretty much.
Whoever looks pleasant during that fucking speech.
No one.
Hillary looked stressed
out. He definitely looked stressed out. And so, like, the opposite end of this, like, so there's the funny part, right? We all going to continue this entanglement.
Yeah, I'm entangled. Fuck that.
I'm entangled. Like
I'm entangled until I'm married, so stay out of my business.
Stay out of my way and stay out of my business. So my whole thing is, the other side of it is, there were some real pieces to it, like being in a relationship for 25 years, going through ups and downs. And how do you go through being together from when you super young, especially like when you have all of that attention on you and you have access to all of these things? How do you move through a relationship? Because a lot of people are going to want to compare their relationship to Will and Jada. And I'm going to be like, he's at the post.
I need people to stop comparing relationships, period. That's like the dumbest shit you can do.
It's stupid.
Relationships are not a fucking general release shoe from Nike. There's they're not one of, there's not a million pairs of the same shoe. Your relationship is literally, it is not even going to be the same with each person you're with. That's how fucking individually unique relationships are. You're going to be different in every relationship.
That's what I'm about to say.
Why the fuck do you think your relationship is comparable to somebody else's? That's issue number fucking one. So they're going to hurt their feelings trying to measure up. But I felt like the realest part of the conversation was when they were talking about, the fact that she didn't think Will would be able to be with her for the long haul. And Will was like, yeah, you didn't think I had the girth for this, but here we are. He was like, honestly, I didn't even think we would be speaking again, but here we are. And I was just like, to me, and me, so I don't romanticize marriage and I don't romanticize relationships. I can be romantical, but I don't romanticize these fucking unions. I don't. And so for me,
everything.
For me though, I felt like Will was having a snobby moment, because I feel like that's the real shit about marriage that people don't discuss, that people don't think about. Everybody's real hype for the wedding. Everybody want to fucking make a video for the gram. And everybody is quick to run down the aisle just to say they got somebody. But nobody really talks about the substantive part of for better or for worse. No one really talks about the hardships that come with being with one person for the duration of your fucking life.
Right.
Because that person's not going to stay the same and you're not going to stay the same.
It's a relationship that you have to continue to build. And like you said, to me, that was like, I was like, again, I'm laughing at a lot of stuff because it's funny and it's uncomfortable. So, I address, as you do as well, a lot of stuff with humor, but also because it was comical. Because like some of the stuff I was like, shit, like, come on. But the real part of it is, and what I was like looking at and unpacking is like, yo, if you're with somebody from your early 20s and you're 50, you know what I'm saying? You're early mid 20s and you're 50. And you go through all of these ups and downs. Do you have the stamina? And I always say this to dudes, and you guys know who you are. So if you're watching it, you know who I'm talking to. Do you have the stamina for this relationship? Because it's not always going to be butterflies and roses. It's not going to always be you liking me. I'm not always going to be my best self with you. We're gonna go through ebbs and flows. And do you have the stamina for that type of relationship? And I always look at a lot of people, me, I try to put energy into my friendships, and that's my barometer for like looking at, can I have other relationships? Because those are the relationships I've taken the most seriously. Like, I love my family and everything, but they on my nerves too. But I've put the most energy into my friendships, and I'm like, people don't take their non-platonic relationships and think about it in that way. That's how I tend to think about it, because I'm like, okay, and that's for me. Everybody is different. So for me, I'm like, okay, if you're putting energy into that in a non-platonic situation that you want to last, think about how much work it took you to get into that, to be in a good space in that relationship that you really work for. You have to understand that you're going to have to put that much energy and then some, because it's a whole different level. Because you might make a person with this other individual. You're gonna intermingle finances. There are going to be so many things, and if you do not have the stamina for it, or you don't adopt the stamina along the way, you're gonna go through shit anyway. But it's going to be that much harder. So you need to. So when Will said, "You didn't think I had it," and one thing and then I'm gonna kind of kick it back to you because it's your platform.
It's a conversation. I ain't the fucking dictator.
So the thing that I found interesting that you just said, that kind of reiterating with what Jada said, was, I didn't think you had it in you to love me through all of that. So she knew she was toxic.
She knew she was a mess. She knew she was a hot mess. And there's nothing wrong with that. Be honest in who you are. Like, I listen, I tell dudes all the time, I look amazing on paper. Of course you want to date me. Why wouldn't you? I'm fucking
absolutely
great.
There you go.
Being in a relationship with me is very different from being entangled.
Entangled. I'm not even talking.
This is my new shit, and I love it. I love it. But being entangled with me is very different than being in a relationship with me.
Yeah.
The amount of time that you need to invest in a relationship with me eclipses an entanglement. First of all, I'm a naturally detached person. I'm inherently detached. It takes so much energy to retain my own attention. Like, this is just me. Like, I could be sitting down working. I would lose my own fucking focus. I'd be like, oh shit, fucking going on. this is innately who I am, but it's who I am. Has nothing to do with anybody else. It literally is just who I am as a person. So if I'm gonna be with somebody in a relationship, like, the consistency is required, just because, my brain will just take off. Like the little hamster jump on the wheel and shit, I fuck around and pack up and leave by accident. Shit is wild. Accident. The shit is wild. The shit is wild. But it's just to the point that being in an entanglement with somebody versus being in a relationship with somebody, it's not the same. He got his little feelings hurt because he thought that it was going to be something that it wasn't.
And you can't.
And rather than just owning, yo, you knew you started fucking with a married woman, whether they were separated or not, they're still married, and that's
that
my
part.
thing. That's my thing. Like, you knew what you were getting yourself into, and you assume the risk, and the risk is yours to assume, but just remember, you assumed it. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people are like trying to say like Jada is fucked up, but I mean, from my perspective, her honesty, you don't gotta like it, and you don't gotta agree with it, but I don't feel like she was trying to slight August at all at the red table. But her not being as emotionally fucked up about the situation as he is just her living in her truth. There's been plenty of times that I've had situations not go the way I think they're gonna go, and one of us is more upset than the other.
Yeah.
It's sometimes it's me.
Game. That's just how it is.
Sometimes it's me, more often it's not. Either way, it just, you know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't mean that the other person like means me any harm, or that I mean that person any harm. I just wasn't as attached as you were, or you weren't as attached as I was. And I think what it is.
I think that she opened up the conversation with saying, like, I want to be clear, it's all love here. Like, I have no ill will or ill feelings towards this man, and he actually stopped speaking to me.
Yeah.
I haven't spoken to him. So I think, like you said, she just wasn't as entangled, and people need to people need to know who they are going into situations. So like, before you start trying to love on somebody else and try to be all entangled with somebody else, you need to be entangled with yourself. Because
that part.
Because if you're not, then you're going to come into a situation, and I understand, like, marriage, that's the long haul, so you're going to ebb, like I said, you're going to ebb and flow, you're going to grow. But if you're trying to get into just like new relationship, be honest with yourself, be honest with that person, but also be entangled with yourself first and foremost, so you already know what your toxic shit is, so you can communicate that out. So you already know when you even self-sabotaging. I'm perfect for that. I'll self-sabotage some shit in a minute. I had to talk to myself, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you would talk about, like, you are the person.
Though. That's what you get from being entangled with yourself, self-awareness. And that shit
self-awareness.
If you want to have a healthy relationship with anybody.
That's it. And so you talked about being the person that's probably has less of the feelings most of the time in your situation, or less impacted by.
Yeah, because I care. Let me go on record. You know what I'm saying? Let me tell you something. I be loving y'all.
I wasn't even coming for you though.
That's real talk. Yo, when I tell y'all I love y'all, I mean that shit.
I'm not even gonna say nothing because I feel like anything I say is definitely dry snitching. I'm definitely gonna be on my Michael Jordan.
Don't Jordan me. Don't do this.
No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that.
Be better.
I was on the opposite end of that, and I had to understand kind of part, more times than not. Though I've been the one that's like, you know, I'm Mercy De La Vega. I'm romanticizing shit. I had to. What you trying to say?
No, I'm trying to say that's not my ministry.
No, it's not your ministry. It's
I'm
very
at the Greenleaf.
Exactly. At the Calvary Ministries, I've been the one sitting up there saying, I've been the one on the hymns. You know what I'm saying? Like, definitely. But what I think I had to learn is just because that person is not retaining that same energy, and this is not recent, because now I just be like, all right, cool, whatever. Yeah. It has nothing to do with you. And this is what August needs to understand.
This is the shit I keep trying to tell people, sis. A word.
You can't digest what somebody else is, where somebody else is not. That person's not there with you. That is not a smite. That's not a slight. That's not anything on who you are as a person. That's just not, they're just not there. You could be the best thing in the world. If somebody's not ready for that situation, it is what it is. And the best thing you could do for yourself is say, you know what? We had a great exchange. This is me anyway, unless you do some dirty stuff to me. We had a great exchange. I can appreciate, as long as you're honest, I can appreciate your honesty. Let's part ways. Let's be cool. Because you never know, I might want to circle back around and smash real quick. But
you never know. You never know. Throw this bitch in reverse.
Exactly. You never know how I'm feeling. But even if that's not the situation, all jokes aside, that might be the situation. But even if that's not the situation, what's the point of you going through having some whole telenovela, melodramatic, soap opera experience with somebody that first of all, you dishonoring the exchange.
See, because like that's my shit. Like, that's my shit. Like, even if I don't fuck with you no more, even if I don't like you no more, you know what I'm saying, after we part ways, I mean, that doesn't happen very often, truth be told. I tend to have amicable splits. There's probably only one person in my life that I've ever dealt with that I don't talk to at all. And that's saying a lot because, you know what I'm saying, I've been on this earth 4 decades. And it's only one person I do not speak to at all. So I don't tend to have bad splits with anybody. And even that split wasn't bad. I just can't fuck with that person. Right. But to the point is that what I don't ever do is be like bad-mouthing motherfuckers like, yo, and let me tell you, and this motherfucker, and that's what I'm saying. Motherfucking dudes talk so much. They're so fucking chatty, bro. Like,
Let's get,
like, bro, hold your shit together, yo.
Like, hold your shit together. Pull up your trousers, sir.
Get your trousers up, bro.
Get your trousers up, because there are some dudes that's like, you're so hurt that you'll just talk about any and everything.
And August Alsina is a perfect example, because he's really just putting out information that didn't need to be put out. Even, like I said, even the way that he came at Keke Palmer. Like, you putting out information that was not required, wasn't asked of you.
And then you talk about her mental health.
Like,
how was that even a joke?
Especially for somebody who was having a mental breakdown.
Thank you.
The unmitigated fucking goal. And this is why when Black Twitter thought that they was going to throw a cape on for this nigga, I was like, nah, not me. Nah, no. That nigga's trash.
For what?
That nigga's trash. T-Rash.
And this is
glad. He's not even a glad bag. He's not even a good trash. He's the bag that break.
So, and if you wanted, if you are so much of an artist and all this other stuff, you could have put that shit in your music, had a great album, let niggas think forever and ever, who was this about? They would have inferred this about Jada. You could have left that and left that mystique around there. For you to have, like, because you also have to think about, you were in their family. You were in their home, on their compound, around their kids, around her mother. Like, you are, they embrace you into your family. So, Jada, you messy for that, but you're also messy because you was in that, you talk, and then you lied and said, well, Will gave permission. I know Will really wanted to come across the table with that.
Yo, I'm telling you, Will was big tight.
And she was like, well, I can see why he thought that. And Will was like, me and this, because he pretty much said him and Will had a conversation.
He pretty much said, like,
he said, yeah.
Like they came to some amicable decision about Jada like she was property.
Right, that's another problem.
So that was another thing that I really appreciate about Will. Like I said, Will was the MVP for me in this whole shit. He was my everything.
He was. If City Boys is gonna be up for anything, it's because how Will.
It's all Will. It's because of Will. But when Will said, when Will said that can't nobody give Jada permission to do anything with her body but Jada, I was like, see, and this is why I appreciate that. I appreciate that you acknowledge that, because motherfuckers is making it seem like because that's her husband, he somehow has governance over her fucking body.
He does not.
And vice versa.
At all. Everybody is
your governance is your own.
Exactly.
The whole concept of making these vows, taking these vows and pledging this allegiance is that you're going to govern yourself accordingly. Not that
Exactly.
someone else is going to govern you, but that you are going to govern yourself accordingly. You're going to honor the nuptials. You're going to honor the vows. You're going to honor the promises that you made to your spouse before your friends, family, God, the justice of peace, whoever the fuck married you.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what it's about. Not that the other person fucking owns you and governs you. And that's also another reason why it's super important to know yourself and be honest with what you need in a relationship and what you bring into a relationship. Because like I said earlier, I'm someone who's naturally detached. So somebody who feels like in their relationships, they have to have some kind of governance over the person they're with. We're not going to work, partner. So let's wrap this up off the rip. Because if that works for somebody else, then that person's probably better yoked for you. I am not. I know me. I've done the work. It was not cute, but it was done.
And you know, we talked about like just kind of romanticism and just kind of getting back to just your most recent point. It's like you have to know who's going to be evenly yoked with you. You have to really understand about who's going to be compatible with you, because it's not all about, you know, I'm on my 90210 forever the day stuff. It's not all about the romanticisms of everything. It's not all about, oh my God, that person is attractive. You have to understand who's going to compliment you and what you need compliment. Now, I don't think people should supplement you. I think you should really try to come into the situation.
Absolutely.
You should really try to
non-negotiable.
You should do that work. But who is going to compliment you? Like, if there are certain things, like if I like, my love language is touch and acts of service. Like I gotta know. You gotta be real clear with me, because I go by your words and your actions, and if those don't match up, then we probably got a whole problem.
Yeah.
So that's my love language. Like, so you have to understand who you are, what you need, and figuring out, can that person give you that? And if that person is also not that person immediately that wants to give that to you, are they willing to try? Are they willing to try to bend towards what you want? Because that's going to be, it's a negotiation.
Always. Every relationship, your friendships, your work relationships, your family, everything is a constant negotiation.
And so I put on my IG today, I said, I'm negotiating a pre-entanglement.
I saw that shit.
You got to negotiate everything. It's like, because listen, is somebody feeding what you're nourishing you and feeding you and giving you what you need? And are you doing the same? And a marriage, I think it's going to be, like I said before, it's going to change, and you're going to have to bend, and you're going to have to say, like, you know,
that's
what?
Every relationship, relationship.
And people are not willing to do that work. So like you said, if you want to be on IG, flicking up the pictures and some of our goals and all this, please recognize that picture probably took umpteen amount of fucking takes to get to that perfect picture. Yep. Whether it's
same way it take y'all asses 400 pictures to get the right selfie, it took 400 mistakes to get to where they at in their marriage.
Girl. So it's like, what are you really willing to work for? And so one thing I don't want to come out of this, like, even though we're going to joke and everything about that whole,
I'm gonna smoke them.
Completely continue to smoke them. But some real shit that they talked about is like, look, we opening up our relationship. They didn't really even have to come on there and say anything.
My man said Black Twitter that took ownership of our shit. Black Twitter is a powerful fucking force, yo.
Really, he was like, because Black Twitter said we had to talk about it. We had to talk. I said, Will probably like, I should have never got on this goddamn Instagram and Twitter and shit with y'all motherfuckers.
And he right, but it's too late. Yeah, he right. But here we are.
Here we are. But also, it is a example for other people to understand that no matter what looks shiny and nice on the outside, even though Jada's on this red table and doing all this healing for everybody in the world, she still needs healing herself. So no one.
That was another good point that she brought up.
Yeah,
that she needs to stop trying to heal other people and work on healing herself. And that's a lot of people.
When she said that, I said, "Why is she in my business?"
And yeah, I was like, drag, bitch. I mean, that's a drag for me, man, years ago. But you know, I was like, listen, understandable, fucking relatable content, as I like to say. Relatable content.
What did you tell me years ago? Everybody don't like you. Everybody just needs you, or some shit you told me.
Yes, and that's a fucking fact.
And that's very true. It's like, because when she said that, I was like, oh yeah, I do have a tendency to see a wounded bird and want to help them and heal them and make them the best that they can be. But what I had to understand and learn, and what I think she's learning now is, and you don't get it when you're in your 20s all the time. If you're lucky, you get it when you're in your 20s. If you're lucky, you get it in your 30s. You might not
if
get
you're
it.
Lucky, you get it at all. Some people don't never get it.
Don't never get it. When I finally got it, I was like, you know what? All the energy I was putting in you, I'm gonna go ahead and put it into myself. And then everybody's gonna be able to have a better relationship, because you have to start with you. And that's so all your most important relationship again and again and again is going to be with you. So yeah, you're gonna, like, we already know people gonna make bad decisions, you're gonna make good decisions. Some of those smashes are good decisions, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Get hopped up and make some bad decisions.
Some bad decisions are actually good decisions, because I'm telling you right now, when I'm 85, I'm like, yeah, but
listen, I'm not living in a space of regret, so I'm all right. Yeah.
Exactly. So, but what I'm saying, like, you know, I think the best thing that people can do is just focus on having a relationship with themselves, whatever situation they go into, because if you have a strong foundation of self, no matter what situation you go into, you're able to better navigate that situation. You're not always going to come out clean. You're not going to always come out unscathed, but you can absolutely better navigate in life. And again, we talked about this on Brunch for Us last week, when I was like, people make decisions. I don't know if you were still on the call at that point, but we were talking about, like, you know, relationships between men and women. And I was like, and like, do men all cheat and everything? I said, everybody's making a decision.
Oh, no, I was still on the call. Yeah.
Okay.
It is a decision. Everything, but that's what I was saying about marriage. It's like, there's no one governing you but you.
That's
Everything is you making, you decided. When you decide you want to be in these exclusive relationships, you have made the decision to govern yourself accordingly. You have decided that you're not going to deal with anybody else in the way that you're dealing with that person. That was your decision. Every day is a repeat of that decision. You have to make that decision every motherfucking day.
Yeah.
Every day. There's no days off from making that decision. And the day that you decide that that's a decision you don't want to rock with no more, that relationship is severed. Period.
That's it. And then, and you also just be honest. Like, that's my whole thing. Like what she said, what Jada and Will said, she was like, one thing we do have is honesty. That should get you a long way with certain people. Just be honest.
With me, it'll get you everything. It'll get you everything. Lying to me will get you fucked up. Now that's a buck. I'm not gonna fucking hold you. I will slap the shit out of you.
Because it's like, now you trying to play me like I'm a fool.
Because you're trying to play me like I'm fucking stupid, bruh. If I asked the question, I had the answer. So
that part. I'm not engaging in this conversation because I need to know something from you. I'm engaging to give you an opportunity to be honest.
Give you an opportunity to be honest. And if I don't ask the question because I don't know, and you volunteer your honesty, that's gonna get you way more. We're gonna have a better relationship than me having to find some shit out. Like, honesty is always a win with me. It might hurt my feelings, but I would rather have my feelings hurt with the truth than to be embarrassed by a fucking lie. Feelings, absolutely. They come and go. Like, feelings are ebb and flow. I will get over you hurting my feelings. I will not get over you fucking lying to me. I will not.
And I think
that's non-negotiable.
That might have been why they were able to reconcile. Because
I think so too.
Because he said, nah, seriously. Like, you were honest. We've always been honest with each other. And so, like he said, can you ride or die with somebody? He was like, we ride together, we die together.
Bad marriage for life.
I was like,
I don't know about a bad marriage for life. But
and he was like, that's kind of fucked up. They both was like, that's kind of fucked up.
I was like, that's kind of fucked up.
That's crazy. But I think, like you said, like, the reason why they were able to move past some of these things and love each other through it is not only because they don't just have romanticism in their relationship. They have honesty, truth, and they like, I see you for who you are.
And that's, that shit is, let me tell you something. If you can't be your whole self with somebody, they're not the one.
They're not for you. Like, you gotta see.
They might not even be the two, my nigga.
You gotta see every part of me. And a friend of mine, a friend of ours, I'll tell you who the person is offline. A friend of ours sent me a clip today about, you know, like, people being compatible and what that looks like. And the lady said, kind of akin to what we're talking about here, she said a lot of good things like, yo, you got to really figure out who's going to help, who's your counterpart, who's really going to help you. And one of the things she said is, if somebody cannot love the full you and you're not willing to show them the full you, because that's another thing.
That's another thing. You have to feel safe enough to be your whole self with that person.
And if you're not willing to show them the full you and they're not willing to accept the full you, just wrap it up, because it's not going to work. It's really not going to work. And I've definitely learned that in my dating experiences where I've tried to be, and this is when I was much younger. Right now it's like, get into it or don't. It was like, well, you know, one of the questions I used to ask guys, and I know you cannot relate because I know you well enough to know you cannot relate to this. You cannot relate to this, which makes our friendship so funny because we're like a lot alike in so many ways and completely separate, different in other, not separate, completely opposite in other ways. I used to say, oh, what kind of girl do you like? That used to be my first question to guys.
I know what kind of girl you like. You here with me. Shit. I already know the answer to that. You like a baddie.
But see, that goes along with not knowing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have to ask somebody what kind of girl they like and not understanding that you're there because you're the type of girl they like, then that's something to me. And you know, I do my work. I try to do my work on myself. I was like, why were you asking those? Like now, I couldn't even fathom asking that question.
Yeah.
You know, but like I would ask those questions and then try to become whatever list that they gave that they like, oh, I like a girl that does this, like this. And I was just like, oh, and sometimes I would get an answer that was completely opposite of me, and it would put me in a tailspin. I'm like, well, if you like that kind of girl, then why am I here? Whether it was physical things or personality wise or whatever. Yeah. And kind of continuously goes back to know yourself, be comfortable in your own skin. Cause like, that's gonna, like I said, in work situations, in relationships, and family, in every situation in life, if you have a solid foundation about who you are and you're honest about who you are, good, bad, or indifferent. I got some really crazy
Everybody do. I hate when people act like they don't have no toxic traits. Get out of here. I got a whole toxic playlist.
Exactly.
What the fuck you talking
So it's like, yo, you can't, so what the lady was saying is like, if you're not comfortable being really this is for somebody you want to be with. This ain't for the smash and dash. You know what I'm saying? It's not for
the smash and dash don't require this much conversation.
At all. But somebody that you're trying to build something with,
check some paperwork, get some condoms in.
Get some paperwork and like, let's shut up. Stop talking. You're lucky I let you kiss me. Don't talk to me like this.
Word up, yo. Word up.
Yeah, that's what the woman was saying. I'll send you the link to the thing. I'll forward you the link. But it was only like 11, 12 minutes, but she was speaking of fact. She was like, if you don't even feel comfortable enough being you, then they're not gonna feel comfortable with you either. Because
that's a fact. Remember, I was telling you this the other night when we were talking about He Who Shall Not Be Named. And I was saying, you know, while I don't romanticize anything, I also don't diminish any relationships. And I don't, you know, disqualify them just because I don't have these grand titles attached to them, just because that's just not innately like the way I'm moving. It's just like my life is moving in an organic fashion, and that's what's working for me. Nevertheless, always the more, if you recall, I was saying to you that this person makes me feel very safe. So I always feel like I could be good, bad, indifferent. Like you're gonna get all versions of me, bro. So I mean, like this is where we at with it. You should have tapped out early.
Take it or leave it. And I think people appreciate that. I think people appreciate the honesty, whether you end up with that person, whether it's a long-term or short-term situation. Every relationship, and I say this to some girls that are probably listening and not really understanding who they are, because I know you have a platform that speaks to all women of all age ranges, you know, particularly all Black women of all. You know, but if you get something out of this and you're not Black, then good for you. But good for you. But be a complete person within yourself before you try to like hitch your ride to somebody else, and be comfortable with that. Just be comfortable with that, because that's gonna take you. It's gonna take you places you've never been to with the Joe. I was definitely about to have everybody with the Joe. Nah, but
not Joel Osteen, yo.
I know we've been talking for a while, but like I really appreciate you having this platform and like having these conversations. And this was kind of a little bit impromptu, but it's really, I think anybody that looked at that Jada and Will thing, anybody that's kind of like listening, that's gonna be listening to this, the whole thing is honesty, transparency, and just being who you are. You cannot go wrong with that. Everybody's not going to love it, like it, or appreciate it, and that's okay for them. And it's also okay for you to move on and not give a fuck. It's also okay. Like, all right. So
my least desire in life is to be liked by everybody. If I'm being liked by everybody, I'm not doing something right.
Oh my God, I know.
I'm not nearly right. There's no way on planet Earth I should be able to make everybody happy.
You can't. And like I said, I also am happy that they had that discussion. I hope that their marriage, I feel like their marriage is tried and tested, and it's probably gonna be tried and tested again.
I'm about to say they gonna be back at the bullshit.
And we're gonna be mad for a minute because Black Twitter ain't letting these memes go, baby.
No, because we petty. Some other shit gotta really happen for us to let go.
Let go, exactly. You better
Put him on the gas right now. He better start a rumor.
You better do something because but you know what? Roll with it because you knew what was gonna come from this. You knew it was gonna come from this. So,
real talk. I hope that they're in a better place. I hope everybody got something from it besides just the jokes. The jokes are gold. The memes are A1. A1. This is another great day in Black Twitter history. But I really do hope that people get something from it because there's a lot to be said for low self-esteem. There's a lot to be said for hurt people. There's a lot to be said for not doing the work on yourself so that you can come into a relationship better, one, with yourself, and then two, with whomever you're trying to date. Like, there was so much to unpack from those 12 minutes and 52 seconds. I do hope that people, especially since most of us on the East Coast are ready to fucking take this opportunity to like really get some shit out of it. Yeah, what I got from it is that my new relationship status is entangled.
I want to put this out there just for any because I know this podcast is made for women, but it's listened to by all.
That's a fact.
Shout
out to the fellas. I appreciate y'all tuning in.
If I contact you and I start negotiating entanglement, come to the table with your pen, ready to get at Section 7.
Oh, this girl is a fool and a half, y'all. She ain't got no damn say.
I'm in my season, and I want y'all to understand that. No adobo.
Okay, Autumn.
No Goya. No Goya out here.
No frijoles.
No frijoles. None of that. Nah, but this has been a Stone Cold Groove.
Y'all, I appreciate you hopping on impromptu so we could get the proceeding on this bullshit. I'm gonna get the black table up, promptly for the people because
the black table is a good like
this is my new shit. The black table is where we discuss the messy shit. This is my new shit.
Because it's like, because you got the highbrow Black Girl SOS, and then you got the, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna be at all markets, at all locations, all stores.
Black women are not a monolith. We're everything in between.
We want to talk about all the messy stuff. We want to talk about all the Black power stuff, all of the isms.
And not for nothing, like there's something to get from every situation, whether it's just a typical wholesome conversation or it's some messy shit like this. Like there's always something that we can get from it, especially as Black women who are notorious for catering themselves and making themselves palatable so that men and society will accept them. Like that's the shit nobody really wants to touch on. One time for Jada living her fucking life unapologetically the way she chose to. And
exactly, be like, this is who I am.
That shit is hella empowering. Good, bad, or indifferent, even though I don't agree with the way she went about it, I respect the fuck out of the fact that she didn't try to make herself palatable for nobody. She went about her life the way she chose to go about it. If motherfuckers ain't like it, ain't changed shit.
She's not, because if you suppress who you are, you know what you become.
What Audrey say? What she say? How the Audrey Lorde quote go?
Which one?
If I didn't define myself for myself, then I'd be crunching to other people's ideals of me.
Yeah. Yes. You know I love you. So I was like, which one? I was like, which one?
I couldn't remember, and I was trying to think. I'm like, because sis said a word, and that word still stands. So good, bad, or indifferent, whether we agree with the way Jada went about it or not, the fact that she chose to live her life the way she chose to fucking live her life, that's empowering as fuck, because Black women are notorious for trying to make themselves palatable for every fucking situation, for work, for their families, for church, for this, for that, for men all the time, or for women, depending on who you date, like all the fucking time. So shout out to her for deciding, listen, this is who the fuck I am. Y'all rocking with her.
For quoting a modern day prophet, you get to live your whole life. You get to be a whole person. Who's that?
Drops mic. Tis I.
You get to live your life holistically. Be your entire self. That's it.
So this was a good talk, sis. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
We're coming to the black table. The black table will be back the next time some messy shit pop off. You know what I'm saying?
Because we already know.
Because, you know, it's still summer. I mean, this is the season for messies. So.
Exactly.
Atlanta's still having day parties, so I know some shit gonna pop off.
Oh, gosh. I look forward to more stories from you because I know that you'll have them sooner than later. I'll take that offline, and I'll send you the I'll send you that link just in case you want to connect it. Yeah, because in case you want to see it and connect it to this, because I do think people need to understand first who you are so you can understand how you're going to walk into this world. But anyway, thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you.
And have a wonderful night.
Bye, Sandy.
Bye, boo.